Welcome. We're going to talk today about Sourcetoad, deployments, production deployments, and compliance. Now, compliance does have a reputation of being pretty boring, so this presentation can actually double as a sleep story from Calm. But it is important, and it makes us a secure company. It makes our development processes better, and it makes our clients' lives a lot easier sometimes. So, and clients, for our clients, compliance is something that a lot of them do worry about, and we care about our clients, so we take care of them. And it's also illegal to joke about compliance, so there will be no jokes in this presentation. And I think after this presentation, you will find that compliance is actually very fun and exciting. There are many types of compliance, actually. Whether you're in the finance field, the healthcare field, we can cater to different things. We can go harder on accessibility requirements, depending upon, what the client needs. So this conversation does need to happen with our clients, and we do this on a regular basis. So you're probably wondering, what do we get audited on? Well, we get audited on two things, HIPAA and SOC 2 compliance. And I said compliance, but actually, we are not compliant. There's no certification specifically, that's what I wanted to say. There's certification with the SOC 2. So let's look at both of these. HIPAA is Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, and these are regulations protecting the privacy and security of certain health information. So we have worked with healthcare companies in the past that do need this. This gives us the ability to sign a BAA, or a Business Associates Agreement, so that we can perform services for them. And then SOC 2. SOC 2 is System and Organizational Controls, and it was developed by the American Institute of CPAs, or Certified Public Accountants. A lot of acronyms for the win. So what do we actually get audited for? So the trust service categories that we get audited for are security, confidentiality, and availability. And each report's a little bit different, depending on the auditors you're working with, what type of company you are. These are the things that we get audited for. So you're probably not thinking right now, Nick, can our clients inherit our compliance? Well, not exactly, no, but it does help them. So depending on what type of audits they're running through, what type of compliance standards, we can sometimes slot in as a sub-organization for them, and even go as far as providing evidence on their behalf when they get audited, which is pretty cool. So what is covered by our reports? Well, Sourcetoad, all of our internal business processes, and our software development lifecycle. That's what we're going to focus on today, because compliance is a huge topic, especially in here. Now, this does not mean that the client and the application are compliant, right? That the client would actually have to go through that process and actually perform an audit on their own systems. I want to also say that it doesn't mean that the applications we produce are insecure. It just means that they haven't been audited. Because we have pretty high engineering standards, a lot of times the clients' audits are actually about their internal business processes, not ours. So some of the focuses we're going to look at today are segregation of responsibilities. This is about making sure that two people aren't performing the same task. So a developer is not able to push code directly to production. So that's how Office Space happened, right? Making sure that we're authorized to perform the work and pushing code to production environments, and also making sure that the code that we write is tested, and that we have approval to write said. Let's talk about a few controls here in our deployment process. Everybody still awake? So when somebody's working locally on their laptop, and they have like, hey, this code looks good, they push it up to GitHub, which is where our repositories host code. GitHub Actions then runs builds, tests, linting, all the tests have to pass, it syncs to other repositories, sometimes static analysis does happen. And then we enforce 2 code reviews before you can actually merge into the development branch as well. So some automated controls that we have here. Once it's merged into the development branch, GitHub Actions then deploys it to the development environment. And then people can start testing, and the client can see our progress. And then, when a version is selected for a release candidate, we tag that version in Jira and, of course, on GitHub as well. And then the client can perform user acceptance testing and can authorize us to push to the production environment. And then we also have product manager approval that has to happen as well. It's like the 2 keys when you're doing whatever. 2 keys we have to be further apart, but yeah. And then when that's all done, it gets merged into the production branch and it gets deployed to the production, and then everybody's happy. Except So this is just a simple, this is just a web application here, so we have a lot more complicated systems that we work with, as everybody knows. Now, since the client owns the production environment, we must get authorization, as we were just talking about. So what does this look like? Production change, SOC 2 requires that the version's tagged with the correct tickets, and you're in a GitHub, a deployment ticket is created, and when ready, release notes are sent out requesting user acceptance testing from the client and authorization. The product manager is responsible for ensuring the process, but it's good that everybody knows this. Everybody should keep this stuff in mind as we go through it. We're going to look at a deployment ticket. I know that everybody's super excited about this. This is in our Sourcetoad process blueprint Jira board. And what happens is the product managers copy these into the relevant client projects. You can see here that there's a few things that we're going to shine a light on here. You can see here actually the segregation of responsibilities. We have one person that's doing QA, one person that is the PM, and one person that's getting client approval. We're documenting the client there. Now this can't always be perfect. That sometimes QA can't. Like very rare cases, QA can only be performed on production. However, we do our best to make sure that this segregation of responsibilities happen. And we can see here, there's the testing, and there's the authorization and approval. So what happens, right? Well, we're going through an audit right now, actually. And what I have to do is I take an export of the list of all the production changes that are in Jira, and we send that over to our auditors. And then the auditors ask us for evidence on a random selection. So they pull, I think it's 10 or 20%. They say, hey, let me see screenshots of this, this, and this. And then we do exactly that. We send it over to them. So this is actually one of the hundreds of controls that we provide to auditors. There's so much more. So I just got to give a shout out to Steph, Justin, Deb, and every year we go through this around this time. But it is all year that we're doing this. Every single day we're working through processes like this with our clients internally. And yeah, and I thought about it, and it's, it might actually not be a sleep story, but it might help Sourcetoad and our clients sleep better at night. So thank you so much. Any questions?